In the 6th century BCE, in the quiet forests of northern India, a prince sat beneath a tree and changed the world. Siddhartha Gautama, later known as the Buddha, the awakened one, did not seek to found a religion, but to understand suffering and how to transcend it. From this solitary moment of enlightenment, a spiritual movement would unfold, flowing across rivers, climbing mountains, crossing deserts and seas, from India, through China, Korea, and finally to Japan. This is the journey of Buddhism. A journey that didn't just span geography, it reshaped empires, redefined art, rewrote laws, and forever changed the human soul. Buddhism began as a rebellion, not against gods but against a rigid caste system. The Buddha preached a radical idea that liberation from suffering was available to anyone, regardless of birth or wealth. In a time of priestly dominance, his teachings emphasized meditation, compassion, and the middle path, avoiding both indulgence and self-denial. His message spread like wildfire, especially among merchants, artisans, and outcasts. Monasteries emerged as centers of learning and refuge, becoming the first universities in South Asia. But it wasn't just individuals who listened. Kings did too. Emperor Ashoka, once a brutal conqueror, converted after witnessing the horrors of war. He renounced violence, embraced Buddhist principles, and sent missionaries as far west as Greece, and as far east as Sri Lanka. Centuries later, Buddhism reached China along the Silk Road, but here, it faced new challenges. The Chinese worldview was deeply shaped by Confucianism and Taoism, structured hierarchy on one side, mystical nature worship on the other. To survive, Buddhism adapted. Monks translated Indian scriptures into Chinese, blending them with native philosophies. The result? Mahayana Buddhism, the great vehicle, a new vision emphasizing the salvation of all beings, not just individual enlightenment. Chinese emperors patronized monasteries, which grew into vast complexes. These were not only religious centers, but hospitals, schools, banks, and even tax-free zones. Buddhism softened harsh social codes, gave new roles to women, and challenged authority with its moral voice. But it wasn't always welcome. In the 9th century, during a backlash, Buddhist temples were burned, monks defrocked, and texts destroyed. And yet, the teachings endured, traveling ever eastward. In Korea, Buddhism arrived not only as a religion, but as a symbol of civilization. Korean rulers used it to unify fragmented tribes, fund massive temple building, and craft a shared identity. Then, by the 6th century, Buddhism reached Japan, carried by Korean monks and merchants. At first, the native Shinto religion resisted, but over time, Buddhism wove itself into the fabric of Japanese life. Zen Buddhism would emerge here, a school focused on simplicity, silence, and direct experience. Samurai warriors practiced it to cultivate discipline and fearlessness in the face of death. Artists and poets drew inspiration from its quiet wisdom, giving rise to haiku ink painting and minimalist architecture. The concept of impermanence, mujo, became central to Japanese aesthetics. A falling cherry blossom was no longer just a flower, it became a metaphor for the fleeting beauty of life. Across Asia, Buddhism was not just a religion, it was a force of transformation. It offered ethical systems where there were none, education where there was ignorance, and inner peace in times of war. It shaped kingship, economy, and art. But more than that, it reshaped hearts. And though its roots are Indian, its spirit belongs to all who seek compassion over cruelty, wisdom over ignorance, and presence over possession. Today, the teachings of the Buddha echo in monasteries high in the Himalayas, in the silent stones of Angkor Wat, in the gardens of Kyoto, and in the breath of millions around the world. A journey of 2,500 years, and it's still unfolding. Buddhism crossed borders not through conquest but through compassion. It didn't bring swords, it brought silence. And in that silence, humanity heard something eternal.